Good afternoon, Steve Stierwalt. I have a podcast. I wanted to do a podcast to update again on what's going on with the strategic plan. And I want to start it out with a question that's come from a couple of different places across the state. And it kind of boils down to, why is the strategic plan that the state association is doing important to your individual district? The way I look at it, districts, we all know districts are a unit of local government, and they set their own priorities, and the AISWCD, the state association, has no power or wants any power to tell individual districts what to do. At the same time, NRCS, the IDOA, and the governor's office, and the legislators, also cannot tell districts what to do. But what these funding bodies, the NRCS, IDOA, the governor, legislators, these are all people that we look to for funding for districts. They can't tell us what to do, but what they can do is choose not to fund us. And so we've been hearing from them that we need to change. And if we hope to continue our funding, that, I think, is where the strategic plan comes in. Through this planning process, we hope to discover what these funding bodies, what is it they would like districts to do? What role in conservation do they feel that districts should be playing? So, as I mentioned in the last slide there, that it's important for us to know what it is that these organizations, NRCS, IDOA, the legislature, the governor's office, it's important for us to know what it is that they think is important for districts to be doing. So we formed what we're calling an advisory council. And on that advisory council, we were bringing in all those different interest groups. The Department of Ag, we're bringing in people from NRCS, EPA, partners from Growmark, corn growers, Farm Bureau, a wide variety of organizations that have an interest in what we do, and are counting on us to provide leadership in this conservation effort. So the role of the advisory council is not to tell us what we have to do, but to bring their perspective to say to the conversation. What is it that we can do to help them accomplish their mission also? So the advisory council is going to be meeting this week, and that is one part of the information gathering effort, shall we say. The next part that has just completed was the surveys. Surveys were available for 2 weeks. And I'm pleased to say that district directors and staff responded, and we had over 180 surveys turned in that will give us a good idea what people are thinking across the state, and giving us some good feedback as far as how we'd like to proceed. But the next opportunity is what we're calling forums. Here is the schedule for the forums that we have set up all across the state. We are trying to use these 7 forums as another opportunity for district directors and staff to give their much needed input to this process. Now is the time to tell us what you think. Give input. Have your ideas heard. Please don't wait. Even though we are all too busy and we don't have time, the strategic plan has a potential to suggest significant changes to how we as districts operate. and potentially how we are funded in the future. We need your input at these forums. So please try to find one that you can go to and come to a forum if you can at all. So what happens next? We're taking this time to accumulate information through the advisory council, through the surveys and the forums. This is a very important part, accumulating this information. So once we accumulate this information, what happens next? Well, Becky Doyle will be working to boil this information down. We'll try to get into, and then we will also be forming a steering committee to help take all this data and get it into a form, a usable form that we can use then for making decisions with. So the process is just at its beginnings. We're accumulating information. The ultimate goal of this then is for the steering committee to then bring information back, and we want to have a proposal that we can actually work with at summer conference in July. So the timetable is very tight that we're trying, and so we're pushing this along and trying to get these forums done because we know our directors will be going to the field soon, and we need to gather this information as much as we can. There are many district directors across the state who were farming during the 80s, and I'm sure remember all too well the financial crisis. We who survived that time made changes. We adapted to allow ourselves to survive a very tough time in agriculture. But looking back, even though times were tough, there were also tremendous opportunities to buy land at greatly reduced prices, to grow our business, and to come out of the tough times even stronger. The funding crisis that we as districts have faced for the last 2 years may be very similar. The farmers in the 80s who sat back and did not respond and make tough decisions did not survive. So we as districts are at a crossroads, I feel. Change is coming to soil and water conservation districts, whether we want it or not. The question I think we as districts need to be asking ourselves, do we continue on the path that we are following, which I feel is a form of natural selection, where only the strongest soil and water conservation districts will survive and possibly thrive? Or should we look at our whole system and try to figure out how we can make our conservation efforts relevant to the needs of the people of the state of Illinois? To me, this strategic planning effort, no matter how painful, is absolutely necessary for the future of soil and water conservation districts. We have an opportunity to give direction to the changes that I'm convinced will be coming in the near future. There's probably staff out there who remember the DC that was in Champaign County, Leon Wente. One of the many things that I learned from him was, I would have to call his mantra, what he kind of lived by and helped Champaign County with. It was, if you build a good plan, the money will follow. I've become a great believer in that theory. It works. And so now is the time for us as district directors and staff to build that great plan all across our state. Find a forum that you can work into your schedule, and please bring your ideas. They are needed. Thank you very much for everything that you do for conservation, and we'll hope to see you at a forum here in the month of March.